number one team in the country is going to end up losing this game. So even if they end up finding a way to win this in the last 8 seconds here, I still think that this is something that is really, really concerning. One of the things that we saw in the final minutes here, when Purdue needed a bucket, right? When they needed a chance, they needed something to go down there and down by 2, 25 seconds left. Braden Smith was the guy that got the ball. He went down there and he committed a turnover, right? Zach Edey was phenomenal tonight. 35 points, 14 rebounds. He was who he was. I still think that we're sitting here and we're looking at this team and we're saying, is there enough around him? Are they good enough defensively? Is this a team that can go out and can win 6 games in March? Like, I want to be in on Purdue. I want to root for them so bad. I want to sit here and say Braden Smith is the guy. I want to be able to sit here and say Fletcher Lawyer is the guy. I want to be in on Lance Jones. And every time I feel myself going in on them and saying, like, I think they're going to do it, something like this happens.
You gave him the Big Ten title, and Robbie Hummel gave him the Big Ten title. And are they that good? No. Like, people are talking about – I saw it earlier today, like, they're the most dominant team in college basketball in years. I'm like, oh, my God, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? They have a dominant player. They have some really good pieces around that player. But again, if you can't get that player – and sometimes get the player the ball. Give him his 35 and 14. Give him his 35 and 14, and you can still beat him. Why? Because the rest of the team's just okay. And again, I like Lance Jones. I like him, but he was 2 for 11 tonight, 1 from 7 from 3.
And fouled out.
He's inefficient. In a lot of ways, I like him because he's fearless and tough, and he wants to take the big shot and gives him something different athletically on the defensive end. But you know what? He's inefficient.
Here's the stat that stands out for me. Purdue had 4 turnovers in overtime. You know how many turnovers Northwestern had in the entire game?
Probably 4.
3.
Yeah.
Northwestern had 3 turnovers in the entire game. Yeah. And when you are not getting great guard play, right? Which
6
is like
turnovers by Braden Smith.
Yeah, which is
6.
Like that's not good enough. And look, I understand that it is on the road in the Big Ten, right? I understand that Northwestern is probably a better team than we're giving them credit for. You were up by double digits in this game. You were up by 8 at halftime.
Yeah.
And you're on the road and you can't get enough stops. Like, if you want to be able to be a national champion.
By the way, on the glass, 51-26 Purdue. Now, again, Northwestern made some threes. That kept them in the game. You know, to me, again, listen, I say it over and over, like, I just worry about all these teams with the traditional bigs. Because, and again, nobody's going to be perfect here. We're not saying Purdue's going to run through the Big Ten, even though the Big Ten's not overpowering.
But it's not about running through the Big Ten to me, right? It's not about Purdue taking a loss.
Rob,
in a
there's
game
no great
like this.
team. Okay, can't we agree right now? Can't we agree? There's no great teams. There's no great.
Yes,
the number 1 team, 2 team, 3, 4, 5. Like, they're all good. They're good teams. Then nobody's unbeatable. Nobody's close to unbeatable this year.
Yeah.
Kansas, we just saw beat UConn.
I
2
agree.
top 5 teams. Is Kansas that good?
No. Is UConn that good?
No.
Here's the point that I'm making is that the flaws that we saw with Purdue last year, we didn't know if their guard play was going to be good enough. We didn't know if Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, if those guys were going to be good enough to be able to get it.
Better this year. Yeah.
But Braden Smith, 6 turnovers.
Are they that much better?
We didn't know if they were going to be good enough defensively. They just gave up 91
to Northwestern.
Like, they forced 3 turnovers against a Northwestern team that keeps losing all of their best players to transfers. Like, I get what you're saying, that there's not a great team in college basketball. But when you won the Big Ten regular season last year, you won the Big Ten tournament last year, you returned the National Player of the Year. Yeah. You basically returned like 7 of the 8 guys that you wanted to bring back. Shouldn't you be a great team? When you have all that, shouldn't you be able to go into – look, I like Chris Collins. I don't want to make any Northwestern fans feel bad. I will alienate a fan base in Chicago if I need to alienate a fan base in Chicago. It is not the Northwestern fan base that I want to alienate and like to make jokes about. But if you are going –
shots at DePaul.
If you're going to be – look, if you're the number 1 team in the country, if you're supposed to be what we thought you were going to be, right? Yeah. If you have the National Player of the Year coming back, you have 7 of your 8 coming back from a Big Ten regular season champion and a Big Ten tournament champion, you should be able to go into Northwestern in the first Big Ten game of the season and not go to overtime and give up 92 points.
It's all fair, but I think what we got to take out of all this is that there's no team right now in college basketball.
Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing for you?
Well, yes and no. I think it is, because unless it's like Duke or Kentucky or one of those teams that because people love to hate them. Like if they're that team that's so dominant, it's one thing. If it's like Purdue, that's not like. I think it's good to have some parity. I think it's good because, again, you've got league races at the end of the year that might matter. Like if Purdue runs away with it, do we care about who's second place in the Big Ten? Not really.
No, you're right. So look, Matt Painter, if you're watching this right now, go out, Zach, Edey, if you're watching this, go out, lose your first 3 games in the Big Ten.
Make it interesting
and then
for us.
turn it all from there, win
make it
17 in a row. Then you can go out and win the Big Ten regular season title. You win the Big Ten regular season, you're still going to be a number 1 seed. Make it exciting for us. If that's your plan right now, Zach Edey, I'm in for it.
Listen, here's the other thing. Remember what Matt Painter said to us, even back at the College Basketball Hall of Fame when we talked to him. He told us, I'm going to play Trey Kaufman-Rand a lot. I'm going to play him a lot with Zach Edey. That is a failed experiment.
That's not working.
It's a failed experiment. So to me, what did I tell you when we were at Purdue? What was the one thing I said to you that they needed desperately is a face-up 4 that could really stretch it and space the court. They don't really have it. You know, they haven't found it. Like, they've got guys who can make shots.
So let's have this conversation then. Right now, the number 1 team on KenPom, the Houston Cougars.
Yeah.
Are they the best team in college basketball?
I mean, Arizona's got the best win. Well, maybe not now because Duke doesn't look overpowering. But anytime you win a Cameron, you've got to put Arizona up there. Hey, the game that we're going to see, I think it's December 23rd. Is it December 23rd when Arizona plays FAU in Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the date? You might be looking at the best 2 teams in the country. And I get that they lost to Bryant. I understand. So everybody's going to say, you're out of your mind for saying that. All I'll say is, with my own eyes, I just saw this FAU team, and I'm like, holy shit. Because they're talented. They've got a true big now who's a weapon in my boy Vlad Golden. And they play with such a togetherness that I haven't seen from any other team so far this year. Nobody plays with the togetherness and unselfishness of this FAU team. Am I wrong? You were at Duke,
wrong.
Arizona.
You're
saw
not wrong. You're not
Kansas
wrong.
and Kentucky.
I'm not.
Kentucky's playing pretty together too.
You're not wrong. I really like this FAU team. I don't know if I would have them in the top tier at this point, but I think that they're like a top 10 to 12 team in college
because
basketball.
of the intangibles. I think I'd put them in the top tier.
Look, from what we've seen from everybody this year, whether it's Purdue, whether it's UConn, whether it's Marquette, whether it's Kansas, everyone's beatable.